1. Who is scrubbing dishes in front of that pond? Sujoy shouted. Hearing her scream, her parents looked at the pond from the roof and saw that there was no one in the pond. They then took Sujoy home. This pond has a quota. Every year it will attract one animal to itself, be it human or animal. Folklore has it that the pond was cut in the year 1990, and the forest around it in the jungle. The murders continued. A mad old woman was murdered and buried under this pond. Not only the mad old woman, but many other bodies were buried. But that crazy old woman did not harm anyone. Many have seen that crazy old woman, but that crazy old lady whom he doesn't see. When someone is having a bad time, or when someone is having a good time, that old lady can be seen. I don't know why my son saw that old lady, Sujoy's father whispered to Sujoy's mother. What do you know, father? These days the dogs are barking loudly in the middle of the night. Standing round in front of this pond, said Sujoy's mother. It's late, go to bed. Do you go, I'm coming, replied Sujoy's mother in a whisper. The pond is very calm. Many people have seen many things near this pond, but those miracles did not harm anyone. Suddenly this calm pond became furious. Within a month. How the pond got angry is unknown to all. But nowadays, if a newborn son is born in someone's house around that pond, it is a big responsibility to understand how that child disappears. That's all. Chickens and goats started disappearing strangely from the houses around. But where it goes gradually became a mystery. No one believed in the miracle behind it, and dismissed it as a thief's trick. But finally, when the number of thefts increased, the villagers finally decided to stand guard. 2 guards were duly appointed. To them the villagers would pay some cash at the end of every month towards the subscription, and in return they would provide security. Pretty good. After appointing this watchman, theft of goats and chickens in the village stopped for 2 days. But from the 3rd day again the amount of theft increased. This time, not only theft, but bricks and pieces of stone were started in every house. And the stones that fell, but they could not be found in the morning. But the surprising thing is that from the day after the stone problem started, there were many large stones lying around the pond. They were all surprised to see such an incident. They got the idea that there was something wrong near that pond. On the request of the villagers, the watchman kept a good watch around the pond. The guard also gave dinner from Sujoy's house in front. Hot summer night people are almost awake, and among them those who have farms in their houses do not sleep properly due to worries. The day was Wednesday. 2 dishes of rice, dal, curry of rice, and bran of buckwheat. Those guards played on their stomachs. There is a field in front of that pond where they had their dinner. Then, Amit said, "Go, Ratan, come to Sujoy's house with 2 plates." I wash my hands and feet at that time. Ratan came with 2 dishes and went to the pond. Ratan Pyle was shocked by what he saw. Ratan saw Amit being dragged towards the middle of the water by 4 or 5 fat, black, ugly, crooked men. Although their facial features were not visible in the moonlight, Ratan could tell that there were 4 or 5 of them. Ratan got up with a scream. Hearing his screams, people from nearby houses came running. They also saw this scene. The next morning, Amit's body was found. The villagers were afraid to go into the water. Some bravely went down to the water and brought the body. This news slowly spread throughout the village. People from nearby villages came to see the pond. Some blamed the pond for the rest of these incidents. According to them, the pond has some connection behind this whole incident. But it is a miracle that can be solved by those who have miraculous powers. Many tantrics, ojas, sannyasis are called to solve this. But none of them agreed. Finally a tantric agreed. He said he would do the job if he was paid a huge sum of money. The news has already come that Ratan is dead. He was suffering from fever for a few days, was convulsing with fever, and then eventually he died. The villagers were shocked by this, so they requested the tantric to quickly start the work of banishing the miraculous energy from this pond. Tantrics choose Tuesday night to fix the day. It was the new moon that day. Yagya starts from 11 p.m. The tantric cuts a cord beside him, showing the barrier, no one should come inside it. Then the tantric begins his work. The tantric recites mantras for some time. Mantra put threw the ashes into that pond. There was great concern in the minds of the villagers. Because the water in that pond was constantly moving, all the trees around the pond were swaying in the wind. After a while, a strange thing is seen, which makes the tantric startled. One flew from the distant sal tree and stood 2 hands away from the tantric. It was not clear whether it was a boy or a girl. Darker than pitch black. The tantric took some water and ghee in his hand, rolled over the fire for a while and threw it on the black figure. Then, the tantric said in a hoarse voice, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" That figure said in a strange tone, "I want change." The tantric asks, "Change? What's the change?" The figure said, "I want to finish Vidyut's wife Supriya." "Who are you? Why do you want to kill him?" The figure says, "I have been lying in the pond for so long and have not harmed anyone, but this Supriya, shit, what a mean spirit, either you punish her or give her to me. Why did Supriya to you?" Tantric asked loudly, "A few days ago at mid-afternoon. He went to Saikat's house. Saikat's mother, father, Saikat were not at home. Beach went to school, Beach's mother went to fetch water, and Beach's father went to work. Supriya had a little feeling with Saikat's mother. And Saikat just got a sister. Supriya went to Saikat's house without seeing anyone and started playing with Saikat's sister. Do you dance with that little girl in your arms?" But suddenly, the sister of the Beach fell to the ground. Meanwhile, Beach's mother started coming towards the house. Not seeing any change in that child girl. Fearing crime brought the little girl to the pond at noon. Took the child to the far end of the pond and floated it inside a drum. And tied some sacks loaded with bricks to the drum. That superior is not tied to the conscience. Oh Dada. Dada. What's the matter? And grandfather. Will you take it or not? I got up completely shaking. In fact, I was typing the story on my mobile phone with headphones in my ears. I was going to Mamabari by train. So who was calling me? I looked out the window. I see a seller of burnt mangoes. I was scared. I closed the window of the train because I didn't want to drink, and I concentrated on writing a story with headphones in my ears. Then my pill was shocked. How is that possible? The train is running at breakneck speed, so who was the man I spoke to outside the window of the train a while back? That day my story was not written.